So I have started exception handling, right? So we have seen try, catch, block. What is the difference between error and exception in the last session? So we have a one finally block, okay? And one interview question is there: what is final, finalize, and finally? So final I have already shown you. Finalize method we have already discussed in your object class, and this is your finally block. So in which condition finally block execute? Okay. So in every condition finally block will execute, but few condition, like few condition, finally block won't be execute. So this is the one interview question, like just I can give you one example. You have to close your database, or you have to close your browser. You have to quit your browser, right? So these are the mandatory things. If you have a multiple exception but it must be execute, then that code we can write inside this finally block. But few condition we can explicitly terminate the finally block. Okay, we can see. So finally block is always executed irrespective of try catch. Okay, I have give you some notes, guys, like combination, right? So they will ask you in the interview. I'll show you that a snapshot. Multiple condition they will give you, and they will ask you in the interview in which what is the, like what the output will come. Will you get compile time error and all? So I will show you the combination of try catch and finally later. So if you want to execute some mandatory code after exception causing a statement, whether it is a count or not, then we place that mandatory code in a finally block. If if the exception raised in try block, then JVM will search for the corresponding catch block. If the corresponding catch block is match, then catch block is executed, then finally block will execute. Okay. In every condition, finally block will execute, but few condition we have explicitly finally block won't be execute. If the corresponding catch block is not match, okay. If the corresponding catch block is not match, the program is terminated abnormally. But just before abnormal termination, finally block will be executed. Just remember that in every condition, if exception will raise, catch block will execute. If catch block will also not execute, then finally block will execute. Is there any chance in any case the finally block won't be execute? Be having the two case, finally block won't be execute, and this is your interview question. Okay. So there are two case in which finally block won't be execute. We are giving the chance to enter the try, then finally block will execute, otherwise it won't be execute. See, I was attending one interview and one guy asked me the same question, interviewer. Okay, in which condition finally block won't be execute? He asked me the same question. Okay, so let me so everybody know, like we having the system class, and we have some exit method. Then I have told them, like, in this condition also finally block want to execute. I don't know what these guys are thinking and all. They are debating on me, I know. So in this condition you can't do anything, right? So simply you can open your editor and you can show them. Right, you can show them. If this guy, out of 10 interviewer, 2 and 3 interviewer you will get, they are doing only Google. Okay, understood, right? So whatever they will just search on the Google interview question for automation test engineer or core Java, and they can keep, and they will whatever the answer they are reading from the Google. If you will speak like that, then okay, otherwise you are not good in that. So you will get this scenario also. Please do not frustrate it. Okay. And we cannot do anything, right? These guys are interviewer, right? We cannot fight them as well. You can fight them with your knowledge, right? You can tell the politely, right? Because this guy, definitely they will not hire you. Even when I was attending the interview, I have some argument with some of the interviewer. They having the too much attitude. But if you will fight with him, no, he will not lose anything. You will lose yourself. Okay, so we cannot do fight level like ego level. No, we have to politely, try to convince and prove yourself. Yeah, this is your answer, right? Because I observed this thing happen with me also and some of my a student as well, my previous batch. So I just told them do not fight. Okay, so you will get more opportunity. Okay, so should not worry about that. Okay, so this thing happen. Okay, and but now you will get some of them. Otherwise the interviewers are very knowledgeable and all, but few of them I have seen. Even the people who worked in the manual testing and they are taking the interview of the automation testing profile. Okay, अरे यार ये वाला है ना. So here you can see this statement I have not written inside this try. Okay, so what will happen? This is the not a part of this try catch. In this condition, finally block won't be executed because this statement I have written outside the try, right? If you want to if you want to perform exception handling, right? If you want to handle the exception, you have to write the your actual code inside this try block. If you are not writing that is your simple code, right? So in this scenario, finally block won't be executed. Okay, you can see you are getting arithmetic exception, and here in the last I think yeah, arithmetic exception by divided by 0 something, getting right. So here in this condition finally block won't be executed. I'm just commenting here and you can see here I have written inside this try code will terminate here, and we don't have a catch block also. I will give you some snapshot guys, like combination in what the condition you can. So we already know individual try is not applicable, individual catch is not applicable, individual finally is not applicable. You have to give some condition. Okay, so let me run this. I'm able to compile. You can see here I am not handling this exception. Understood, right? I am not handling this exception, but here finally block is executed. You can see, right? We don't have a catch block. Let me show you one more thing. Like I'll just copy the code, this one. Okay, I am adding this as well. Okay, I have written here. Okay, so now and here this is your exception. I'm just writing exception, and now what will happen in this condition? What will happen? What the output will come? Just type your answer. Okay, if you're not able to understand, let me know. I will explain you. Here, what the output will come. Let me execute. God. So this one will also execute last statement. Okay. So catch is executed. You can see if you are not using catch also, finally block is executed. Understood, right? Or if you are writing any statement out of the try catch block or try catch finally, so that will finally block won't be execute. Okay, so let me show you one more example. You can see here I'm using system.exit, and this is now exit will define some, here it will define some millisecond something, right? One or two, just you can check it, in a library. Okay, what okay, so here it will terminate your code. So in this condition finally block won't be executed. Okay, so in this two condition finally block won't be executed, and this is your interview question, guys. So here this throw key was right. You already seen this in Selenium many times, suggested by the JVM. Please throws this exception, right? So this is the use of the throws keyword. The throws keyword is used to report the raise the exception to the caller. It is mandatory for checked exception for reporting if they are not handled. So by default, Eclipse by default will suggest you you can handle by using the throws keyword or try catch block. So okay, we can use throws keyword at a method declaration level. So you can use this as a meta declaration level. It is possible to throws and report any number of exception at a time based on the program requirement. If the method throws and report the exception, then JVM is responsible to handle this. One more keyword are there that is called throw keyword. So here you can create your own exception. Okay, like some of the message you have to give, right? So we can create your in our own exception. So this is the difference between the throw and throws. Okay, and this is also the interview question. If you want to provide your own message to the users while throwing the exception, then we can create our own exception. The main purpose of throw keyword is to create exception object explicitly for predefined and user defined exception. They won't be asked much question from whatever we have discussed in our notes. And let me show you. I'll share that notes as well. This pick. So we have some combination here. So in the interview they will ask you in which possibility and what is. You can see we have a try catch, catch, try catch, catch. Here I think you can see catch block. I think they have written something. X has already defined. Okay, so here two types. This is you have added the same exception type. It won't be applicable. So I will send you this notes, and just we can write this all the combination in your notebook. Okay, because this they will ask you these things. Okay, in the interview they will ask you this thing. Okay, they will ask you the combination. So just execute this all the possibility in your system. Okay. Okay, so your Java is almost completed, but few more topics are there, and let me go through that topics. Okay. um, I'll quickly go for some of the I can teach you within 10 minutes or 15 minutes. Concept wise, my notes is enough. You can crack any interview, but coding practice you have to do, right? From the starting, I'm going to tell you this is very important for coding, right? So we have used many times this constructor, if you remember, right? But we cannot give you the you know notes, and I'll tell you what is the use of constructor. Okay, so when you are creating an object, right, you are writing new class name or this parenthesis, that is called constructor call. Okay, so use of this constructor is, I'll tell you the use of this constructor. Hmm, see, when you are creating class A, right, this is your source code. This is your source code, just you have created, you did not execute and did not compile. If you will compile this code, then what will happen? Class A and this compiler will add the default constructor, and when the constructor is there, one super call is there. Okay, I think this is like that. Understood, right? So this is compiler will generate this code automatically. It is not visible, but if you will see the compile code, so we have some decompiler software. So you can see here compile code as well. Here dot class file you will get it. As a user you will get dot class file, but dot class file is not human readable file, right? So only JVM can understand this dot class file, and that is your machine code. Understood, right? So let me you can see. So constructor job is to initialize an object. This is your class, right? This is your physical object, right? But anything you have to initialize this object, constructor will initialize. I will come up the super call later. Okay, so the constructor is a special method given in the up language for creating and initializing an object. In Java, constructor is only initialize the object, and new keyword role is creating an object. So constructor job is to initialize an object, and new keyword will create an object. Okay, so we have some rules for the constructor. Constructor name should be same as class name. Here return type is not allowed, but I will show you. If you will write the return type, then what will happen? We have a special case for that. It should not contain any non-accessibility modifier, a static, final. These are the not applicable for the constructor. Logic return a statement with values are not allowed. I told you, right? Return a statement with values are not allowed. If you will use, then what will happen? I will show you later. You won't we get any compile time error or runtime error if you will use return type with value, but I'll show you what will happen. Okay, we have a special case for that. What is applicable? What is the things are allow for the constructor? It can have all access modifier are allowed. Public, private, protected, default. It is applicable for constructor, allowed for constructor. You can pass the parameter as well. No restriction, it will work. It can have a throws clause also, right? I have shown you this throws clause, right? So constructor can also have a throws clause. It means we can throw the exception from the constructor. We can place return a statement. Return a statement is applicable, but return with value is not applicable. In constructor, here control is return, not a value. In constructor, we can have any logic except return a statement with value. So these are the syntax of constructor. Now how we can create any logic you can write inside this constructor except return with value. Calling in constructor, right? How to call the constructor? Constructor must be called along with new keyword, or else it leads to a compile time error. Okay, so when you are creating an object, then we have a new keyword, right? So when you are writing the new keyword and this is your constructor, this is called your constructor call. Without new keyword, we cannot call this constructor. Can we define a method with same class name? So this is the interview question. Or can we, if you are creating a constructor, if you will give the return type, then what will happen? Right? Yes, it is allowed to define a method with the same name. No compile time error, no runtime error is raised, but it is not recommended to use as per the coding standard. Okay. So these things are not allowed as per the coding standard. Okay. So these things are not allowed. It will work, but as a developer, we cannot write this like this type of the code because this is not a part of coding standard. Okay, so people will confuse even the right if you will write it. You can say we have a class name. This is the constructor we have created, and I have created a constructor with return type, so it will become the method. But as per the coding standard, it is not recommended to use. Okay. You can say in constructor, in method you will get the output, but as per the coding standard it is not recommended to use. This is about of the constructor, and we have used this constructor, right? Okay, I'll have a one more important things. This thing, you guys, we have already used this, but just I'm going through the theory one, so you will get more clarity. You can see this keyword we have used, many times, right? Many places we have used already this keyword, right? So what is the this keyword? So this keyword is only applicable for non-static member. And why we use this keyword and what is the use of this keyword, we'll see. So the keyword is, this is your non-static final reference variable used to store current object reference. Okay, to separate non-static variable of different in the non-static context. So it will point to the current object, it will differentiate, right? If you remember this keyword we have also used in your variable topic one. Topics are there, how to differentiate class level variable and local variable having the same name, right? From there we have also used. If you remember, when you are creating any class, user defined class, right? And you are defining the constructor, right? And we are defining the variable as a class level, but while creating a constructor we are passing the parameter for yeah, and we were also using the this keyword to point the current object. So we have already seen that. Okay, this all the things. Okay, you can see. So this is your source code, like just you have developed the code, you did not compile and you did not execute. When you will compile this code, no, by default compiler will add this keyword. Okay, so what will happen if you will print this value, you are getting x and y, right? 10 and 20 you will get it. So what will happen, this keyword will point to the current object. Okay, you can say this is added, this keyword will added by the compiler, decompiler software. You can check it. Okay, so one more example are there, even I will show you this, or I will show you tomorrow. So one more topics are pending, that is casting. Tomorrow I'm not sure I'm able to take the session or not, I will update you. Okay, but let me show you this example. Okay, so here you can save it. You can see we have a super class, right? And super class and subclass having the same name. When you will print, x and y, you will get this output. Understood, right? So if you will not add, by default this is added by the compiler. If you want to access the super class member, then we can use super dot. One more topic are there, I will teach you the super call. Okay, when the constructor is there, the super call is always there. And what is the use of super call? There are two types of the super call, one is your super call and one is your super dot. The use of this super dot is it will access the super class member if having the same name, right? You can see class level variable and local variable having the same name. So if you will print simply x and y, you will get this class level variable. How it is going to happen? Because of this keyword. If you want to access super class variable, then we can use, we can see now able to access it, right? So this is about of your this is your this keyword. And we have some more point I have written, okay, here. For storing the current object reference, the usage of this keyword, differentiating non-static variable from one object to another object, for accessing non-static variable and non-static method of the current class from another non-static method, for accessing constructor of current class from another overloaded constructor, and differentiating non-static variable from parameter if both having the same name. Okay, so these are the usage of the this keyword, and we have already seen that. Okay, okay guys, join 8:30 link, we can continue your selenium.